everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel YNR Daily Spoiler. Victor plot collapse as Cain plays both sides.
The Victor plot and Cain's double trouble backfire. Victor devises a scheme to cause Cain to be embroiled in two scandals at the same time that will explode when combined. A fake forensic paper trail that suggests Cain embezzled money from a charity connected to Newman interests. And B, an anonymous DNA-based paternity revelation that suggests Cain fathered a child abroad in a previous life. The combination aims to simultaneously damage Cain's reputation on a personal and professional level. It's bold, it is harsh, and it has a spectacular backlash. The plant and the Victor's plan in the sketch. First, the setup. Victor employs a mysterious fixer, a lawyer consultant known for crafting strategic narratives. The fixer's job is to create a lab report and paper trail that will appear genuine in front of the board and media. He hires a disillusioned IT specialist who is lured by money from a small charity foundation, the one Cain shares. Additionally, he arranges for an anonymous courier to deliver a lab slip stamped from a private European clinic along with a paternity alert to a local tabloid. 2. The leak. Cain's double life? Charity cash missing. Is he also a secret dad? Is the clever headline that the tabloid uses. The seed is sown, though the paper is cautious not to state the conclusion directly. Misappropriation plus secret paternity equals man of family and business in question. 3. Direct repercussions. At Crimson Lights, Lily wraps up a meeting and reads the tabloid. She becomes motionless. Devon calls out to Cain in a low voice. A board member texts Victoria to ask if they can have a phone call. The foundation, which depends on Newman funding, halts payments while it conducts an audit. At Newman Enterprises, the board starts to wriggle, with the satisfaction of a chess master who has just given up a pawn to encourage a king's error. Victor observes from his study. He anticipates mayhem. He anticipates a test of Cain's self-control. In order to limit the harm, he anticipates that Victoria will pull away. He is not prepared for what he will soon have to deal with. The first shock can doom. 1. The public's reaction to Cain. Cain enters the light with honor. "I've never touched a dollar that wasn't mine to use," he declares at a press conference. Every penny was tracked down. He requests that the board refrain from speculating and declares an independent audit. Everyone has always trusted him because he is cautious and measured. 2. Lily's personal anxiety. Lily is hurt and angry. The paternity angle, which includes a lab result with Cain's DNA profile and talk of a child in a foreign nation, shakes her faith in Cain's integrity. Lily fears the agony of a public smear, their son, and their future. She asks Cain if he has ever known any women abroad who could have given birth, demonstrating her practicality, while also reaching for comfort. Cain claims that he didn't. 3. The screw is turned by Victor. Victor intensifies his efforts. He provides a podcast that thrives on insider rumors with documents, which are forged disbursement approvals with Cain's initials on them. The foundation's board has a recorded conversation with the FBI-affiliated auditors. Cain's access to some Newman accounts is discreetly blocked by the legal counsel for Newman Enterprises until a thorough investigation is completed. 4. A personal danger. Victor calls Cain to what appears to be a civil meeting in the library of the Newman Tower. He's surgical and cold. "I expected better," he says. "Clean up your mess or step down." Victor wants Cain to react, either with an emotional outburst or an angry retort that will garner media attention and serve as proof that the man is incapable of maintaining his composure. 5. Cain's reaction. Hold back for the time being. There is no Cain flying off the rails. He leaves to make a call to his attorney and arrange for independent auditors. He collects receipts, bank statements, and meeting minutes because he is thorough. But it takes a long time. Neighbors murmur. Donors hesitate. The smear is spreading like a stain. The emotional cost mounts. Cain doesn't sleep as much. Lily makes an effort to keep their child away from the commotion. Victor believes he is blessed with patience. He is unaware that a manufactured scandal can have a cascading effect of its own. The boomerang turns due to a small mistake. 1. The slip of the fixer. Victor hired a sloppy and haughty fixer. He creates a fake document using a printer connected to the fixer's own consulting business, and the metadata from that printer, the kind of thing a careful forensic auditor can discover, remains embedded. Months later, when the auditor runs the Foundation's document chain of custody, he discovers that metadata, a warning sign. It's a minor error, but in Genoa City, minor errors turn into major problems. 2. Someone comes forward as a whistleblower. The charity's disillusioned IT technician who accepted the bribe is having trouble falling asleep. His girlfriend, who also works as a nurse at the hospital where Heather, an elderly figure with a troubled past, volunteers, hears his confession. Heather, who finds it hard to remain silent, decides she must speak up. She gives Lily a tip in an anonymous manner, saying, "There's something wrong with those documents." 3. Lily looks into it, silently. Sharp and protective, Lily doesn't make headlines. She asks Devin to check the metadata over the phone. He is an expert with tech contacts and numbers. Devin puts together a brief forensic packet and gives it to a third-party reporter who supports the targeted person's rights. The findings are sent to an ethics lab for confirmation by the reporter. 4. Victor went too far. Sensing that the tide may be turning, Victor doubles down on his strategy by putting in place a second fictitious witness who says Cain acknowledged concealing money. On paper, the witness is coached to provide details that seem credible. This takes matters close to criminal territory. Charges may be brought after the Foundation's audit. A tip is sent to the AG's office. Cain brings in top legal counsel. At this point, Victor's strategy shifts from shrewd to desperate, and desperate is sloppy. The lie is proven by proof. 1. The fake is exposed by forensics. The alleged forged documents do not match Cain's known paperwork characteristics, according to the Independent Ethics Lab's report. Instead, the metadata and file signatures of the documents link to an IP address that the fixer used. The courier who sent the paternity lab slip to a private clinic is also tracked by the lab. The package trace of that courier reveals a stop at a European Postal Office agent who identified the sender, Consulting Services for Newman Limited, and shares the name under subpoena. 2. A firearm that produces smoke. The fixer unintentionally sent a crucial email to himself from his regular account, which lays out the plan and includes a line like, "Victor wants this to break Cain at the board meeting," as Devin's packet reveals. The smoking gun is the email. 3. Public disclosure by the whistleblower. An affidavit detailing how he was paid, who paid him, and how the documents were falsified is signed by the IT technician, who is now supported by the nurse Heather. He acknowledges his guilt and requests protection. Law enforcement receives the evidence from the Foundation's auditors. 4. The panic of Victor. Victor knows he's in a tight spot. Although he is old enough to understand that burying a body of documents is what leads to a deluge of subpoenas, his instinct is to bury the evidence. He attempts a last-ditch public relations defense, claiming the email was fake, but the courier trail is undeniable and the forensics are clear. 5. Cain was publicly vindicated. According to a statement from the AG's office, there was no proof that Cain personally embezzled money during the charity audit. The paternity alert is withdrawn by the lab because it was based on a sample that was obtained incorrectly and was probably tampered with. The tabloids that first published the story make corrections, and social media accounts that demonized Cain stop posting. Cain has the victory for a beat. However, drama never follows a straight path. The victor's plan backfires in the aftermath. 1. Legal repercussions. Subpoenas for relevant documents are sent to Victor's office after the fixer is taken into custody. The fixer's assistant turns into the lever. He attests that a Victor middleman paid him. The public finds out that Victor was involved. The fact that a patriarch seems to have used corporate resources and power to orchestrate a private retaliation against a board member has alarmed lawmakers and shareholders. 2. Corporate fallout. A special meeting of the Newman board is compelled to be called. Angry at being duped, a number of independent directors demand a formal investigation into Victor's use of company funds. The board is under pressure from shareholder trusts to implement governance reforms. The Newman board decides to create a temporary oversight committee that will require Victor to get permission before directing or funding outside reputation projects associated with Newman philanthropy. 3. The human price. Although Lily is relieved, her faith in the system has been undermined. She is upset with Victor as well as with herself for being startled. Although legally vindicated, Cain's use as a weapon has emotionally worn him out. Their union is put to the test. Cain worries that the wounds from Newman are more severe than he initially thought, which keeps him up at night. He desires change, but it will cost him his soul. 4. The bruised ego of Victor. Victor's pride is publicly damaged. The Oversight Committee restricts his unilateral control, but the board doesn't completely revoke his title. The bite is harsh for a man who is accustomed to being uncontested. In private, he rages. He thinks about going to court, but it would be politically stupid to sue the board that includes his kids and close friends. 5. The circle of press snaps. Reporters eat. Victor is portrayed in the scandal as a man who would sway politics to further his own agenda. Some former allies turn away. Another neat little revelation emerges because the dominoes keep falling. Victor's fixer had previously worked on dubious client projects for other executives, a pattern that begs further questions about Victor's network. The second blow, inaccurate implications for Newman. 1. Reputational harm persists. Newman Enterprises suffers a blow to its reputation despite the retractions. As analysts examine the governance risk, institutional investors become jittery and the stock declines for days. Competitors pitch clients during this time. Some long-time donors stop contributing until governance reforms are implemented because the board no longer believes in Victor. 2. Victoria and Victor's family fallout. In a heartbreaking scene, Victoria, mortified, confronts her father. She is upset not only about Cain, but also about Victor's involvement of innocent people, the IT technician, the fixer, his use of company resources for personal gain, and his threat to the family brand. Her rage is intense and well known. Although Victor expresses regret in private, the true injury is humiliation in public. 3. Newman and Jill are rivals. Jill Abbott observes with a complex sense of contentment. She had been against Victor's overreach for a long time. The Abbott family takes advantage of the occasion to suggest a deal among nearby businesses to strengthen ethics commitments. The corporate battle lines change. 4. The new status of Cain. After being besieged, Cain comes out stronger morally. He receives support from donors, and the board of the foundation reinstates him with an apology and a commitment to bolster anti-fraud procedures. He becomes an outspoken supporter of governance reform because he will not allow charity to be used as a weapon again, not because he is a careerist. 5. The whistleblowers and Heather. Heather is commended for coming forward. Despite her complicated background and history of marginalization, she is now acknowledged as a citizen who acted in the public interest. Her contribution lessens some of the scandal's angular edges. A new order and clean-up governance, truths and remedies. 1. The Committee for Oversight. Any philanthropic or political spending that exceeds a certain threshold is subject to mandatory independent review by the board. There are restrictions on Victor's unilateral checkbook. This is a painful but necessary change. He must now submit a major giving to the Oversight Committee for approval. 2. New rules. Newman Enterprises funds an external audit of past grants, increases whistleblower protections, and releases a new corporate ethics charter. They pledge to provide transparency reports and establish an ethics hotline. Some confidence is restored by the optics. 3. The moral imperative of Cain. Cain is not looking for revenge. He requests that the board back initiatives that prevent small nonprofits from being used as fronts in corporate conflicts. He frequently discusses the need for improved protections. His reputation grows, and he receives offers for advisory and speaking engagements outside of Genoa City. 4. Victor's temporary retreat. Victor Bose alternates between plotting and repentance. He is brooding, but accepts little supervision. He is aware of his wounds, but he is not done. The arc foreshadows future returns, and he subtly begs allies to slacken the board's restrictions later. 5. The private work of Lily and Cain. The couple rebuilds at home. Cain tries to set limits so that public events don't define their private lives, while Lily takes care of the emotional harm. They commit to a new level of openness in their family and begin counseling. For the show's ongoing moral note. The long game, teasers and payoffs. Seasonal repercussions follow this arc's conclusion. 1. A review of Victor's reputation. There is less room for the patriarch to act without supervision. He is still in the game, but he is now compelled to negotiate with shareholders and boards that he previously completely disapproved of. 2. The ascent of Cain. Cain's moral core turns into a source of power. In order to promote governance reforms from the political side, he might run for public office or assume a leadership position in a non-profit organization. He gains prestige without compromising his honor. 3. A novel case of nemesis? The arrest of the fixer reveals more intricate networks of political operatives eager to sow discord throughout the area. An oligarchic consultant who promises to exact revenge on Cain and Victor for the mess is the new antagonist. For Genoa City, that creates a larger, more systemic conflict. 4. Reorganizations of families. Victor has to deal with Victoria more now. Their bond will be put to the test. Jill and other families shift their positions. It changes the Abbott-Newman axis. 5. Moral issues persist. When does civic power become toxic? Is a question that the show keeps posing. Who keeps an eye on the watchers? And how do brand name families come to value people over profits?